Now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, your trusted source for conservatives' insights and where the truth always matters. I'm your host, Charlie, the Country Conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler of The Brendan Statler Show.
Today, we dive into the topic that weighs heavily on our hearts, the horrific terror attack on Israel. On October 7th, the world witnessed an unspeakable tragedy. Hamas terrorists, fueled by hatred, infiltrated Israeli communities with chilling precision. Their actions were not merely an act of violence, they were calculated atrocities that left scars etched into the very fabric of our collective memory. The gruesome footage captured by local cameras, dash cams, body cams revealed the savagery and ease with which Hamas operated. Innocent civilians became targets, their lives extinguished in an instant. Homes in Israel turned it into the scene of a horror, families torn apart. Futures were shattered. Imagine the terror of those who hid behind closed doors, praying for safety. Some victims were kept alive, their suffering exploited as bait to lure others into opening their homes. Blood-smeared children's bedrooms, flames engulfing lives. These haunting images sear our soul. The world must not forget. We stand united against terror, unwavering in our support for Israel and their rights to defend themselves. As we navigate the complexities of this conflict, let us honor the memories of those who lost by seeking the truth, justice, and lasting peace. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll dissect the geopolitical implications, analyze responses, and hold those responsible accountable. So hi, everyone. Hope you had a good Tuesday and hope it went well. So let's get this party started. Now, if you haven't heard, there's over 1,300 illegal immigrants, criminals, swarming the New York City Hall just a little while ago. Hundreds of illegal immigrants met outside New York City Hall on Tuesday, but they marched to there to pressure the city to provide additional taxpayer funding and support so they could get more free stuff. The local lawmakers held a hearing on the experience of these immigrants in New York City. The New York Post, roughly 1,300 immigrants gathered outside New York Hall during a joint session of the City Council Committee of Immigration and Committee of Hospitals, where they intend to help lawmakers understand the experience of illegal immigrants in the city shelter system. Well, all the New York City hospitals have been overrun by illegal immigrants. New York actually hired a company called DocGo, paid them over $430 million just to take care of these illegal criminals. But they wouldn't do this for their own people living on the streets prior to all these people coming to their city. So that tells you how much they don't give a shit about the American people. This is the typical Democrat way of doing things. But I'm going to show you a real quick video clip here of what was going on today with these illegals. And you see that was just only part of what you could see there. And over 1,300 of them, they want more free stuff, more taxpayers stuff. Not that they're like producing anything for the American economy, just being a burden on our economy. That's all they're doing.
Absolutely. And, the sad thing is the Democrats will probably give it to them, and probably even some Republicans, if we're being honest. They'll probably sign off on giving these people more aid, giving them more free stuff, as if they're not getting enough free stuff already when they shouldn't even be here. But this is what the Democrat Party has bred. Black America is a prime example of this. They want to keep the black people on the plantation, on the Democrat plantation, by keeping them down on welfare to where they can't, thrive like other people in the country. At least that's the illusion that they give.
They
Now
want to keep
black
them
people
dependent.
exactly. They've been wanting to keep black people dependent for generations now. This is the Democrat playbook. Well, now Black America is finally starting to wake up, so they are essentially bringing in illegals to replace the black people that have woken up to the Democrat plantation. These people shouldn't even be here, as we all know. These people should have been deported immediately as soon as they were caught in our country. But because of Biden's open border policies, they're here. They're getting all kind of free stuff on our dime, by the way. Meanwhile, many of us are having a hard time getting by. Many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. We have how many homeless veterans that have nowhere to sleep? They have nothing to eat. Same with many children in this country. But we could somehow come up with all this money for these illegals to stay in these fancy hotels, give them free electric scooters so they could roam the city, fly them to wherever they want to go in the country, give them free food, free everything, new cell phones, new Xboxes, everything that you could think of. But we can't, and this goes for sending aid to Ukraine, by the way. We could come up with all this money for this, but we can't do anything to help out the everyday working American who is struggling to get by. Or we can't feed our homeless veterans or give our homeless veterans shelter along with all the homeless children in this country. It's absolutely disgusting.
Got that right. Then mentioned about disgusting, that protest from yesterday. That was a disgusting display.
Yes. And especially the fact it took San Francisco police 5.5 hours to react. And honestly, you almost can't blame the police for this, because this is a Democrat city where they have defunded and demonized police. 5.5 hours may have been the best they could do. Who knows? I mean, you look around the country, these police officers want to do their job, but they can't because they don't have the resources. They've been defunded, or the radical Marxist policies in these cities have scared people away from wanting to join the police force. So you almost can't blame the police in this as much as people want to. And, it's absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason that it should take 5.5 hours to have a response. By the way, we didn't get to mention this yesterday because I didn't know if it happened yet or not. I didn't hear about it till after we got off. There were protests in Orlando. Was it Orlando? It was Miami, Florida, and there was another city in Florida. I can't remember if it was Orlando, but they were both cities in Florida. The roads were only blocked for approximately 15 minutes before the police started arresting people. Now, what is the difference between San Francisco, California, and Miami, Florida? Miami's a Republican state that still believes in law and order. It can be done. It's because of the Marxist policies that the left has instituted in these cities. And who's a major representative in the city of San Francisco? Nancy Pelosi. This is all because of the radical policies that Democrats like Nancy Pelosi have been putting forward.
Yes, I was looking for the people in San Francisco on the Golden Gate Bridge. I did see a video today of them cutting out one of the guys, and he crying like a little baby because they had their hands through the PVC pipe. They had them chained together. They had a piece of rebar shoved up in there, and it was in a bucket, and they poured concrete in it. And they had to chip away at the concrete. They had to cut that rebar, and he crying like a little bitch. And while they were cutting him out of there, and it's like, your dumbass shouldn't have done that in the first place. But
Nah.
they did mention that they were, I was just trying to find it, but it has to do with like a kidnapping charge and people being held captive in one place, and I can't remember what the hell name of the charge is, but it's about keeping somebody confined in a space that they're not wanting to be there to do. And I can't remember the name of it, but the police want to charge them for it. Doesn't mean the DA is going to charge them, but I mean, they've got all
No.
kind of trespassing, and they have a law in California about not being on the roads, interstate, not blocking and not being allowed on a bridge, blocking traffic. So they
Yeah.
got those kind of, but now we're going to see, will they do anything? Will they even charge these people? What, I haven't even heard anything today about people being charged or if they're in jail or not.
The biggest thing that pissed me off, particularly about the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and like I said, I'm not necessarily blaming the police. This may be their orders and their hands are kind of tied. But you see these idiots stand there with a sign going across the bridge blocking traffic. Police are just standing there. Like, why are they not going in and handcuffing these people? Like, you cannot block a road under any circumstance. The First Amendment does not give you that right. Now, if you want to stand on the sidewalk and do all that stupid shit you're doing, that's perfectly legal, except for supporting terrorism. But, you want to protest whatever it is, you can do it on the side of the street. As long as you're not threatening anybody, you're not causing any trouble, you can do that. It's not a violation of the First Amendment to arrest these people for blocking roads.
Nope. And GH, no, this is not a Trump only channel. We are open to anyone that wants to come in here and they want to talk about something. You can put your comments in chat. We love the challenge. We love the people making comments and stuff. So come in and enjoy. But these protests, they've got to stop, because
Absolutely.
And I saw a ton of them from last night that they put out about death to America, and they were burning the American flag. One guy that was trying to stop them almost got his clothes caught on fire because he was trying to stop them from burning the flag. And then what do you see? You see the cops grabbing the flag and yanking it and laughing about it. And that pissed me off even more.
Absolutely.
When you got a cop that's laughing because these dirt balls are burning the American flag and saying, one guy wrapped up in all the freaking Houthi get up, the terrorists get up, yelling death to America. Why wasn't he being arrested for threats?
Yeah, you would think that would fall under threats. And this was in New York, I believe, this incident you're talking about. But I mean, they're too busy prosecuting Donald Trump in these show trials, in these Moscow show trials. So you see where the priorities of the Democrat Party are. It's all about get Trump and his supporters. But anybody that burns the American flag, especially somebody that is here, I think should be deported immediately and should have no chance of getting back in. That should be considered treason. I don't know the laws. I'm not a constitutional or a law expert by any means. That may be protected by First Amendment, as disgusting as it is. But in my opinion, I was going to say, if it is, in my opinion, that should be changed. You should absolutely be deported 100% if you are burning or disrespecting the American flag in any way, shape, or form. You're gone.
Well, if they hate America so much,
leave.
It's your one-way ticket. What the hell are you doing here?
Nobody's forcing you to stay here.
No, so get the hell out of here. If you don't like it, go live in the East, whatever the hell that's called,
Iran.
Iran. You could go
Afghanistan.
to Syria, Afghanistan. Go to any of those places. Go to Gaza. You guys want to protect Palestine and the Hamas-controlled country? Then go. Get the hell out. We don't need you here.
You know something I wonder, Charlie? I wonder how many of these people are being paid to do this because you got to think, particularly with leftists, and I hope that we have a leftist in here watching right now. Leftists are some of the laziest people, and talking about the voters, the politicians are actually quite tenacious. As much as I hate them, they're quite tenacious. But the liberal voters of this country are most of the time the laziest people in the country. So I don't see very many of these people breaking away from their Netflix and their TikTok long enough to go and support a country that's clear on the other side of the world. Especially a country they know nothing about. I mean, you see all these people from the Alphabet Mafia out there and supporting Gaza. Gays for Palestine. You see these signs everywhere. Do you know what happens to gay people in Palestine to this day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go over there for a little bit and tell me how that works. All the gays for Palestine, go over there for a few hours, see how long you last after they find out you're gay. But they're just uneducated, they're lazy. I think they're all being paid off. I think this is all coordinated. I really do. I don't think these people really believe any of this. Some are just repeating it because they want to be part of the group. It's the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement we saw in 2020. As I said, this is Floydapalooza 2.0. These people are being paid, and I guarantee you it's coming from George Soros in particular.
Talking about being paid. Now there's a lawsuit filed against Biden because Biden gave $1.5 billion that aided Hamas, the terrorist group. But if you weren't aware, Joe Biden is funding every war that is going on right now around the world. You don't believe me? Check it out. Joe Biden keeps sending money to Ukraine to fund a war against Russia. Joe Biden sending money to Israel to fight their war with Hamas, and now Iran. And Joe Biden unfroze billions of dollars to give Iran access to it. So that is funding the attack against Israel. And Joe Biden gave $1.5 billion to Gaza, which is governed by Hamas terrorist group. So now he gave aid and comfort to the enemy. So we got two Biden conferences to the enemy of Iran and Hamas. So he's given aid and comfort to both terrorist group, which is an impeachable offense.
Yep.
So now I'm going to let you hear right out of the horse's mouth, the demented horse's mouth, Joe Biden telling Israel that we will back them. But then he turns around in the next breath and he's going to send money to Hamas in Gaza to give them aid and comfort to the enemy. So watch this video.
I was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you. But there's a lot of people out there not sure. So we got to overcome a lot of things. Americans are grieving with you. They really are. And Americans are worried. Israel, as they respond to these attacks, seems to me that have to continue to ensure that you have what you need to defend yourselves. And we're going to make sure that occurs, as you know. People of Gaza need food, water, medicine, shelter. Let me be clear. If Hamas diverts or steals the assistance, they will have demonstrated once again that they have no concern for the welfare of the Palestinian people and will stop the international community from being able to provide this aid.
Now, see what I'm talking about? Now we got John Kirby on here, the Biden administration, and their response to Iran and Israel, with the bombing and stuff. So You've got to listen to this short video. Yeah, it's not that long, about a minute long. John Kirby trying to spin things, and you just have to hear it from his mouth. Now, listen to this.
Thanks. John, has President Biden considered maybe beefing up the public Iran posture to be more than just one word?
You're referring to don't.
Yeah.
And so
because
let's
he said
talk
don't,
about,
and they did it anyway.
and let's talk
So
about
now
what we did, Peter. Let's talk about don't and did. Let's talk about Saturday night. He made it clear that he didn't want to see escalation in the region.
And then there was.
Let me finish. He added military resources to the region right after October 7th. And then when we had an inkling that this kind of thing was coming, he added even more military resources to the region. More destroyers that were capable of shooting down ballistic missiles, a fighter squadron that was able to shoot down drones. And that's what we did. So you can talk about the don't word all you want, but let's talk about what did happen. And what did happen was Iran utterly failed. And if I'm sitting in Tehran right now, I'm betting that President Biden takes it pretty seriously when he says don't escalate. He's going to act to make sure that you can't. And they didn't. Yes, they fired an unprecedented amount of munitions, but how much of a success did they have, Peter? None. Zero. Very little infrastructure. It was an embarrassing failure for the Supreme Leader and for the IRGC.
Now you tell me, he's funding everything that's going on right now, and it is pathetic. And he's using our taxpayer money to fund all these wars. This is the stuff that we talk about all the time, that the Democrats can't run on anything except for violence and some kind of problems. And this is what they do every time they're in office. Every time they run for an office or something comes up, they have to cause some kind of conflict. So this is pathetic.
Yeah, the only embarrassing failure I see is John Kirby and the rest of the Biden regime's team. But this is what politicians have done for years, but we've never seen it to this scale before. This is like the Black Sabbath song "War Pigs." They create war just for fun. Because it puts money in their pocket. They treat people like pawns in chess. This is exactly what that song was talking about, but we've never seen it on a scale like this before. It is so in your face that both ends of the war being funded. Look at the pipeline he gave Russia before the Russia-Ukraine war, and Russia's still profiting off that. Biden could have stopped that pipeline at any time, by the way. And we're sending all this money to Ukraine. So we funded both ends of that war, and we still continue to fund both ends of that war, by the way. Now he's telling Israel that, we support you and you should defend yourself, even though I said 24 hours ago I don't support you defending yourself, but now I do because we're not consistent or transparent in any way. But today I support you defending yourself. But while your back's turned, we're going to give this money to Hamas, the very same people that are attacking you. It's just war is profitable. It's a terrible thing to say, but it is true, and that's why these people do it. But the thing that's, and this is how you start to see the uniparty develop a little bit. Democrats, this is, well before Donald Trump getting involved in politics. Democrats were the ones that weren't open about war. They weren't the war-hungry party. That was the Republican Party. Now it's all completely flipped. Most Democrats are warmongers. You have a decent amount on the Republican side as well, but there are more Republicans that are opposed to war. It's like it's all, or at least say they're opposed to war. Let's say that. It's all completely flipped. But it's just amazing how in your face and up in your grill this is, that we fund both ends of a war. This is where our tax dollars go. It's just, how can anyone vote these people in that make these decisions? We didn't have this under President Trump. We didn't have any of this. It's just, and it's not like this information is hard to find. They're funding both ends of two different wars, and we are on the brink of World War III. This is very easy information to find if you just want to look for it. How nobody holds these people accountable. I can't understand it. You would think at some point the media would have to start calling out these people just to save their own ass, but they haven't to this point.
You got that right. So enough of Biden right now. Let's get to Miss Katie Couric. Well, I didn't even know she was still alive. I thought she was gone a long time ago, but she wants to call people stupid, but only Trump voters. So Miss Katie Couric chatted the description of the Trump voters. A veteran journalist and a TV show host, Couric is taken to some flack for her generalization of Donald Trump voters as an anti-intellectualism. Curry made the comment on Bill Mayer's Club Random. But you know what? I'm going to let you watch and what she said herself. So you're not just hearing it from me. So watch what she says.
Socioeconomic disparities are a lot, and class resentment is a lot. And anti-intellectualism and elitism is what is driving many of these anti-establishment, which are Trump voters.
So we're stupid because we're anti-establishment.
Yeah,
You just got to love this.
This is the unbiased media that they always say that's so fair and balanced. You know, she worked for CBS. It was right, CBS News. So
Yep.
she worked. She's
Yep.
not there anymore, is she?
Nope.
I don't think so. I didn't think so. But anyway, she was at CBS News for years. And look what happened earlier this week. Charlie, you brought this up a couple videos ago about NPR. Had a whistleblower, a longtime editor at NPR, blew the whistle on the liberal ideologies that are all throughout NPR, the liberal bias all through NPR. Well, guess what happened to that editor today? He has been suspended by NPR. And they wonder why nobody trusts the media. You see more and more of this, of all these people that have been in media saying stuff either on a hot mic or they come out and say it after they leave the network, something just completely demonizing Trump supporters, or they expose the bias themselves, and then they get fired or suspended, but usually ultimately fired. And they wonder why people like us do not trust the media anymore. And all that aside, all the lying aside that we end up catching them in, you see all these cases happen that I just listed before. It's a wonder why none of us trust the media anymore. I mean, how could we? It doesn't sound very fair and balanced what she just said there. I guarantee you she's not the only one at CBS News that's currently still there, by the way. She's not the only one that has worked for CBS or currently works for CBS that shares that same sentiment.
No, it's all of them. And where do you
It's every
think,
one of them.
where do you think these liberal sheep get their bullshit from? And then
Yeah.
when they're calling us racist and fascist, and they probably don't even know what the words mean.
No,
And
they have a dictionary on standby. Somebody's got to spell it for them first, though.
Oh yeah, they can't even do that. But this is where they get it from. So they just go off of what these fake slave news media people tell them, and saying, "Well, they're racist. If they're a Trump supporter, they're racist, or they're fascist,
Yep.
or they're conspiracy theorists." Well, we ran out of conspiracies. Every damn one of them have come true.
And they
So
can never
sick of hearing it.
they can never list an example of how Trump supporters are racist either. By the way, you always ask them. Yeah, you always ask them that same. That's just the liberal default. Like I said before, these are some of the most lazy, uneducated people in the country. That's their default. It's all an echo chamber. They just know how to parrot. They don't actually know anything. They don't.
That's what I had one guy today tell me.
Yeah.
He told me, and I actually got a liberal to say something, and I said about what Biden's done good. And what did he tell me? He passed some of the most best bills ever, like the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, I always hear that one too.
I said, "Oh my God, the
You
infrastructure
mean the green
bill."
new, the green new energy bullshit that's going to bankrupt us in the future?
That bill only raised up the deficit.
Yeah.
And the money people are getting right now, and they're thinking that all the states are getting this money, which they're not. And the problem is that the states are still getting money for bridges, road work, stuff like that. It's money that
Yeah.
they've gotten every year, that they get every year for this stuff. It's not any
Mhm.
above and beyond what they usually get. It's you ask for $12 billion a year for infrastructure stuff. Okay. That's what they always get. Now you ask for 12 billion plus another 20 billion, that would be getting money from the infrastructure bill, which
Yeah.
it's not.
I'll tell you what my favorite one is that Biden has done. The Inflation Reduction Act, despite the fact how strong he wants to say his economy and Bidenomics are, we had to have an Inflation Reduction Act, and we're still battling inflation, but somehow the economy is the strongest we've had in like 50 years or whatever they always say.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that works, but okay.
That too only raised the inflation up higher because
Yeah.
you spent money that you don't have.
Yeah, you're exactly. It all comes from the orgy of spending for stupid shit. I mean, not just in Ukraine, just other stupid stuff here in the nation. Jesse Waters on Fox, and I hate to give Fox a shout out whatsoever because we all know how I feel about that network. But Jesse Waters has been putting out a lot of the useless spending. He has like a new segment on it now. It's actually pretty interesting. But this is why our economy is in such bad shape because of two reasons: the endless printing and spending of money, and Biden's war on gas and oil. Those are the two contributing factors. That is why our economy is in such bad shape, because when it comes to, anything you buy, whether it's groceries, whether it's an Amazon package, whatever it is, whether it's you go to a diner and you order food, everything comes from a truck. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world when it comes to economics, but I think I know at least this much. If the trucker's spending more for fuel to put in his truck to deliver your stuff, then he's going to charge the grocery stores more, or the restaurant more, whatever the case is, to deliver the goods. So then that grocery store grocery is going to charge you more because they had to pay more for that product because the trucker's paying more in gas. So it's
Right.
those are the two contributing factors to why the economy is in such bad shape right now. And this was not happening under Donald Trump. We were energy independent. We were drilling like crazy here in the United States. We weren't spending money. We weren't spending and printing money like crazy, like we've done since Biden has been installed into the White House. That is why the economy is in such bad shape. And the worst thing about it is it has never stopped. That's how you know this is intentional. These people, every time these people say that the economy is great, the border, there's no problem at the border.
Yeah.
They're not lying. They are accomplishing exactly what they want to accomplish. They're not lying.
America.
Yeah, they're destroying from within. It is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Every time they say the economy is great, there's no problem at the border. There's, whatever they say that is an obvious lie, what we would perceive as a lie, it's not a lie. There is no problem at the border for them. There is no problem with the economy. There is no problem with gas prices or anything else. There is no problem with having children mutilated and sexualized by the trans mafia. That's exactly what they want to happen. We need to start thinking like that. This is not incompetence. This is intentional. Everything we have seen.
Yeah, if you don't believe that, you're an idiot.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what they're doing. This is a planned thing to ruin this and to ruin Trump And everything that's going on right now is a plan by these Democrats.
Right. And this is the, sorry to cut you off, Charlie, but this is the one thing I would say. If this was not intentional, if this was simply incompetence, Joe Biden would have gotten at least one thing right to this point in his illegitimate presidency. Can anyone in the chat name me one thing that Joe Biden has done positive since he was installed into the White House? Just one thing. I'll take one thing. Anybody wants to post it, please do. Because I can't think of one thing that he did positive.
He went on vacation. He should have stayed there.
Yeah.
That would have been positive.
I wish a tidal wave would have came in and swept them in.
No kidding. But I keep asking people, and I keep asking the liberals and the anti-Trumpers out there that to come in and please say something good that Joe Biden or that twit Kamala Harris has done since they've been in office. Not a damn thing. Don't tell me Infrastructure Act. That's a bogus bullshit. The Inflation Reduction Act's only raised up the inflation. Nothing has been good. Over now, I think we're getting closer to 14 million illegal criminals in this country. The assaults, the murders, the rapes, everything. Our cops getting killed, everything. Now you see the illegals asking for more free stuff, but
yeah,
not our American people, our American vets that are living on the streets, the kids that are living on the streets. And to this day, I still can't get an answer from anyone in the Democrat Party. Where the hell are the 86,000 children that Joe Biden trafficked around our country? No one can find them. I can't believe there's not a bigger stink about these kids.
There absolutely should be. There absolutely should be. But
nobody wants to say anything.
Right. But like I said before, this is what they want to happen. You see, so they're not going to address it because it's going just as planned. This is all by design. These are not stupid people we're dealing with. Joe Biden might be, but he's just a talking head. He's not making any decision. I really think that Joe Biden believed he legitimately won in 2020 because you couldn't tell that stupid bastard nothing. And, he would have. He would have let slip somehow. Just look how sloppy he's been with Hunter Biden and China and Ukraine. Look at how sloppy he was with that. But yet, House Republicans still haven't done anything about it, of course.
Which pisses me off.
Yeah, but look at how sloppy he was with that. This guy isn't involved in any of this. I think this guy is stupid enough that he really believes that he got 81 million votes, that people love him, and that he's doing a fantastic job. The people that are really making the decisions, the ones that are pulling the strings,
Obama.
This is all by it's a lot of people, I believe, but this is all by design by these people. This is all by design, and Biden's the perfect scapegoat. If I really thought they would have gotten rid of him to this point. I'm actually shocked they didn't, because I thought they would get rid of Biden and they would try to pull back, be a little more moderate, or at least appear like they're more moderate, and they'll put all the radical stuff on Biden. Then they'll just move on. That's what I thought the game plan was, and it would have been a brilliant plan, actually. So I don't know why they didn't do it, but.
Well, it's not over yet. Joe Rogan thinks they're going to replace him in May. They're going to replace him as a candidate, and I'm waiting to see. I did see that a few days ago about that, and I didn't get to put it on here when Joe Rogan said that, but I mean, it's the whole administration, and the whole administration's covering for him, and they're all idiot liberals. I've got one here. I got the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, and he refuses to say if a man and a woman are physically different. That's not a person in the Biden administration that will go on record. There's not one person that will go on record as saying what a woman is. And that's problematic for me.
Except when it comes to abortion, Charlie, then they know what a woman is all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
they figure it out by then.
I'm going to let you watch this video of him being questioned in front of Congress, and let me know what you think about this when you hear it, because this just dumbfounds me, and this seems to be the typical thing for Joe Biden administration. So watch this.
Can you please tell me, or can you please define for me, what is a woman?
Our focus at the department is to provide equal access to students, including students who are LGBTQ, access free from discrimination.
So what's the definition of a woman? You haven't given me that. You haven't answered my question.
I think that's almost secondary to the important role that I have as Secretary of Education.
My question is very simple. What does HHS say the definition of a woman is?
I lead the Department of Education, and my job is to make sure that all students have access to public education, which includes co-curricular activities. And I think you highlighted pretty well the importance of Title IX and giving students equal access, whether it's scholarship and facilities.
Okay, so you're not going to answer my question.
Now you see what I mean. Almost every single person in the Biden administration, and when they are asked a question, and their answer or lack thereof answers to any question that they are asked in front of the House, the Judiciary Committee, or whoever it is, they've said it before, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you cannot answer a question with a real answer, then you should be fired immediately, especially something like this.
Yeah, the thing that's the most frightening about this is the Department of Education. I mean, come on, are you kidding me? You can't even define what a woman is, and these are the people that are regulated.
Tell him to look down his pants. He'll find out what a woman is.
Yeah, these are the people regulating what is taught in your children's schools. This is absolutely absurd. Like if you do not know the difference between a man and a woman, go to a farm and try milking a bull. You'll find the difference real quick. It's just these people are just ridiculous. So they don't know the definition of a woman, and they always answer the liberal definition of a woman is always somebody that identifies as a woman. Well, you can't use the same word to define itself. That would be like me trying to define what a tree is. Oh, it's something that looks like a tree. Well, what is a tree? What is a woman? They can't. It's an adult human female.
But
that is what a woman is. That is not a hard answer. And this shouldn't even be political. What? How have we gone so completely nuts that we can't saying what a woman is controversial now? If we continue this trend, it's going to get even more nuttier. It's going to get even nuttier than it is now. And I know that's hard to imagine, but who would have thought we would have ever gotten to this point? This stuff needs to stop, and this all started with the trans mafia.
Well, every other thing in this world, they want to go off, follow the science. Well, biology is science, and biology tells you what a man and a woman is. And normally, on normal people like you and I, if you look in your pants, you'll see what you are. It's as simple as that. You got a stem, and if you don't have ovaries and woman parts inside you, you're not a woman. You're a man. And this amount of surgery that's going to change your genes.
Yeah, this is something we're all taught as young children. The difference between boys and girls, men and women. It's just amazing that this is a controversial subject. And like I said, this guy is with the Department of Education. I think he is actually the secretary. He's like the highest person in the Department of Education. This guy should be fired immediately. If you can't even answer a question, especially being in the Department of Education, you can't even answer a simple question. What is a woman?
Well,
You're fired.
These are the people that want to pervert our children. And they want to keep these books in there talking about anal sex. And bullshit like that. That's nasty. And perversion used to be illegal, and you couldn't even show a kid a naked picture, and your ass is thrown in prison.
Right.
So now you can.
Now it's empowered. Now it's empowered.
It's disgusting. I saw a video on TikTok the other day that grossed me out totally. It was a black girl, bunch of kids around, and she's twerking. So, she was in shorts, she was twerking, and this little boy he couldn't have been more 3-4 years old. And she's twerking. He runs over there and he's spanking her on the ass. 3 or 4 years old. But that doesn't, it gets worse. She drops her damn drawers.
Ah, Jesus.
And this kid, and she's sitting there twerking, and this little boy, I tell you, no older than 3, 4, 5 years old at the most, gets behind her and pretends he's dry humping her. At that age. And it's probably her own damn kid or a friend of theirs or something. It was the most disgusting display I've ever seen. That bitch should have went to prison just for that video. That is perversion. That is pedophilia. And anybody and everybody that backs these freaking books in these libraries and these schools should go to prison too for pedophilia.
Absolutely.
If you don't like it, I don't give a flying F. If you, no matter what, that pisses me off. It's gross. Oh my God.
I would take it a step further, Charlie. I would say anybody that supports this should get the death penalty. Everybody talks about the only good pedophile is the dead one. Well, you are supporting pedophilia by doing this. You were supporting pedophilia because you were too chicken shit to stand up for not only yourself, but your child, because you're so worried about being called transphobic, homophobic, or whatever other liberal buzzword people want to throw at you. This is way too far. I don't care if you're gay, trans. I do not care about any of that. Leave the kids out of it. That's it. You want to be gay and, fly your rainbow flag and all this stuff and, dress all ridiculous like some of these people do. Okay, whatever. I'm definitely not going to a pride march at any point in my life. You go do what you want to do. I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone. And we'll all get along just fine. But as soon as you start shoving this agenda in our face everywhere we look, and especially you're bringing kids into it, that's a problem. Because like I said, this is the last video I did, how they're showing it in, on children's networks, this LGBTQ bullshit. Jesus Christ. Just a few months ago, I couldn't even watch the Pittsburgh Penguins game. I was so annoyed because it was Pride Night there. And it was every 30 seconds. It was every 30 seconds. The only thing that could have made it more obvious it was Pride Night is if everyone was screwing in the aisles. It was every 30 seconds. It's like, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't need to see it everywhere. And there's absolutely no reason that children should be involved in it. Anybody that involves children in it, I think should go to prison and be facing the death penalty.
Damn straight. Now, the last thing on my agenda tonight is the Supreme Court may throw out hundreds of January 6 convictions and erase one major charge against Donald Trump. Now, on January 6, 2021, one of the Capitol defendants alleged entered the U.S. Capitol along with more than 2,000 others in an effort to stop the counting of electoral votes that was already underway. That is not the reason they entered the Capitol. They wanted their voices heard, and the doors were already open. So that's what pisses me off about these news people that want to sit there and say about this shit, and that's not true. But the Supreme Court will hear a challenge of a law banning an obstruction of an official proceeding that has been used to charge 330 defendants who participated in January 6, 2021 protest. At issue is a law that makes it a felony if someone corruptly obstructs, influences, or impedes the official proceeding or attempts to do so. This law, known as 18 U.S.C. 1512C, was enacted as part of the accounting reform law passed in 2002. So in the wake of the Enron and Arthur Andersen scandal, federal prosecutors have used it to charge 330 people who were involved in the January 6 protest at the Capitol. Now, they argue in an appeal that the provision was not intended to be used this way. Instead, they claim a full reading of the lost tax shows that it was only meant to apply to the corrupt obstruction or impediment of documents in an official proceeding. So this view revolves around the world otherwise in provision which reads in an emphasis was added to this: whoever corruptly alters, destroys, mutilates, or conceals a record, document, or other object attempts to do so with the intent to impair the object's integrity or availability for use in official proceedings. They'll otherwise obstruct, influence, or impede any official proceeding or attempts to do so, shall be fined under this title for imprisonment not more than 20 years. But the main point of this contention that emerged in the lower courts were how the word otherwise should be defined and how it connects the first subsection to the second. So a decision in favor of this defendant would not only dismiss the charges from his prosecution, but could overturn convictions or dismiss them altogether for all 330 other participants in the January 6th protest. That would include Donald Trump, who was charged with 4 counts related to his actions on and leading up to January 6th, including obstructions of official proceeding. Now, today I heard that the justices were talking about it today, and they have not come up with a decision, but they are leaning toward giving this guy what he wants and what should happen, and that will come at a later date when they give their ruling. But it's possible that they could overturn all this, and hopefully they do.
Yeah, it absolutely needs to happen. In my opinion, every single January 6th protester should be released, because even if there are people in there that did wrong, they've more than paid for it at this point. They've been in there long enough. What we have seen with January 6th is absolutely ridiculous. You see all these other dangerous criminals in these blue cities that have committed some of the most heinous crimes. Look at Officer Diller's, the man that murdered Officer Diller in New York. Look at his arrest record. He was let out how many times, and then he murders a police officer. And the sad thing is, it probably won't be that long before he's out again. It's just how these blue cities operate. But you're going to keep these people locked up just for simply walking into the Capitol. A lot of these people just simply walking into the Capitol. And, there's more and more evidence coming out, and video evidence, by the way, that some of the police, assuming they were really police, there could have been some actors even acting as police officers, that were provoking the crowd, that the police potentially started the riot. So more and more evidence of this is coming out. These people, don't we have the right to a speedy trial in this country too? These people have been sitting in basically solitary confinement since it's happened. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Trump should pardon every one of these people day one of his second term. There's no reason these people should be locked up. Look at the great grandmother that just got locked up a couple weeks ago for going just inside the Capitol for 10 minutes to say a prayer. Yep. She went in for 10 minutes, prayed, didn't assault anyone, didn't destroy anything. Just went in, prayed all of 10 minutes, walked out. They're going to be sending her to prison. Isn't that ridiculous?
Anybody that has anything to do with Trump or anything, they want to get out of the way, because
it's intimidation. It's intimidation. They are signaling to us, anybody that supports Donald Trump, we're coming after you.
Well, she was probably Catholic too.
And that's another reason they're going after Trump. That is the truest statement that Trump has ever said. They're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just standing in the way.
Yep.
They are trying to intimidate us by going after Trump the way they are, and going after the protesters of January 6th. They're trying to intimidate people to get them to move away from Donald Trump. And you know what? So far, it's not happening. It's having the opposite effect because the American people are smarter than these people think. So I'll let you go, Charlie. You were signaling me. We're getting short on time here.
I was looking at Trump and back and behind me on my,
Oh, I thought
when you mentioned it.
I thought you were telling me to wrap it up. I'll just finish my thought real quick.
No,
But
go ahead.
but that is what they are trying to do. They're trying to get people move away from Trump. So far, it's having the opposite effect. And, people see what is going on. That is why Trump is so popular now. I think Wendy Bell played it this morning of it was a video compilation of a bunch of former liberals. And you look at some of these people, they look like they're still liberal to this day just by the way they dress and stuff like that. These people do not scream MAGA when you look at them. But they're on, TikTok or whatever it is, recording themselves saying how they were wrong about Trump, and they're supporting him in 24, even though they hated him before, because they actually did their own research, started looking into it. Now they're Trump supporters. They were making the videos like directed to Trump, like apologizing, like, sorry, I let the media play me into hating you. You're gonna see a lot more of that.
Oh, most definitely. But ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up this episode of the Conservative Viewpoint, let us reflect on the weighty matters we've dissected today. I'm Charlie, your steadfast host, and I implore you to stay vigilant, for the world is a complex web of intrigue and power. Joe Biden, the installed 46th president of the United States, found himself causing and funding wars around the globe. His decision rippled across the continents, shaping destinies and altering the course of history. But let us not be swayed by partisan forever. Let us seek the truth in the midst of chaos. From the Middle East to the South China Sea, our nation's involvement in global conflicts demands scrutiny. The delicate balance between intervention and restraint is a tightrope walked by leaders past and present. Yet, as conservatives, we hold steadfast to principles that guide our foreign policies. We stand unwavering in our commitment to protect American interests. Our military might should never waver, but it must be wielded judiciously. We recognize the importance of alliances, but we also acknowledge that not all alliances serve our best interests. We must discern friend from foe, which Joe Biden doesn't do. Our heart aches for the oppressed, but we tread carefully. Humanitarian should not be a cloak for ulterior motive or to be given to our enemies. So, dear listeners, let's engage in a robust discourse, challenge assumptions, and hold our leaders accountable. As the sun sets on this episode, remember that knowledge is our armor and critical thinking is our sword. So join us tomorrow on the Conservative Viewpoint, where we'll continue to navigate the current geopolitics, unafraid to question, unloading in our pursuit of truth. So until tomorrow, I'm Charlie, signing off. Good night, everyone.
And I'm Brendan Statler. Thank you all for watching. Till next time, God bless.